Hi, I'm Rudy, founder of Nickel Hayden and a municipal advisor to Texas Public Schools. This is Texas School Finance with Rudy. Here's what nobody tells you. You've probably heard it called Robin Hood. Maybe you've heard people say it's unfair, that wealthy districts are being punished, that the money is being taken from kids who earned it. Here's what I want to do today. I want to set aside the politics and explain what recapture actually is, mechanically, legally, and financially. Because most of the people arguing about it the loudest have never had it explained to them accurately. And I want to be upfront about something before we get into the mechanics. I am pro public schools, full stop. Everything I do professionally is in service of making sure Texas public school districts have the tools and resources they need to serve kids. That's the lens I'm bringing to this topic. And through that lens, recapture is both necessary and flawed. And I think most honest people in this industry would tell you the same thing. Texas uses the Foundation School Program to determine how much funding each district is entitled to per student. When a district's local property tax revenue exceeds what the formula entitles them to keep, the excess goes back to the state. That's recapture. Property wealthy districts generate more local revenue than the formula entitles them to keep. The state collects the difference. Why does this exist? It goes back to a series of Texas Supreme Court decisions starting in the late 1980s, the Edgewood cases. The court found that the existing school finance system was unconstitutional because it produced wildly unequal outcomes based on local property wealth. The Texas Constitution requires the legislature to provide for an efficient system of public free schools. Efficiency, in this context, means equity. Let me give you the numbers that most people arguing about Robin Hood have never seen. Right now, 241 Texas school districts are making recapture payments to the state. The total this year, nearly $5 billion. That is billion with a B. Austin ISD alone paid $699 million in recapture in 2024, the highest in Texas. Over 52 cents of every local property tax dollar collected in Austin ISD is sent back to the state. When recapture was created in 1993, it affected a handful of the wealthiest school districts in the state. Today, 241 districts are caught in it, many of them growing suburban districts that no one would describe as genuinely wealthy. And here's the part that should concern everyone who cares about public schools. A significant portion of those recapture dollars don't necessarily flow directly to property poor districts. They flow into the state's general education funding pool, which means recapture has become a mechanism that allows the state to reduce what it would otherwise need to appropriate from the general budget. In plain terms, your local school tax dollars are helping balance the state budget. Recapture as a concept, necessary. Every child in Texas deserves a baseline of resources regardless of their zip code. The Edgewood decisions were right. The constitutional obligation is real. Recapture, as currently executed, it needs serious reform. The formula hasn't kept pace with property value growth. Districts that shouldn't be classified as wealthy are getting caught in the system, and there are legitimate questions about where those dollars actually go once they leave local communities. Being pro-public schools means being honest about both of those things. You can debate whether recapture is fair, but you cannot debate it honestly until you understand what it actually does. Now you're ready for that conversation. If this episode gave you a more complete picture of recapture than you had before, that's the goal. Share it. Follow me on LinkedIn, where I break this down regularly. And if you represent a Texas public school district navigating recapture, visit nickelhayden.com. This is exactly the kind of work we do. Episode 5 is next, and we're talking about something that most people have never heard of, but it directly affects your district's bottom line every single day.